Welcome back to another video with me. If you saw my back to school, the 10 items that I said don't buy DIY, if you saw that video 2 weeks ago, this is kind of like a spin-off from that because I decided to make a duffel bag so that you can see how you can make one yourself. All right, this is the duffel bag that I showed in my video. Okay, this is my personal one. I showed you guys that I had a matching tote bag and things like that. Well, when we think about duffel bags, you could have either a round end to your bag, or you can have one that's rectangular. The rectangular creates the height, of course. I like doing round simply because this particular duffel bag is sized according to a personal item for flying. It's sized for a personal item, but it's also sized for a carry-on. So that's one difference with the duffel bag, meaning the sides. If I were to do a rectangular end to the bag, I wouldn't be able to scrunch it. It wouldn't just mold as easily. Second thing, the bottom of the tote bag, I purposely put canvas on the bottom of this. Okay, a lot of tutorials that you see, they don't do canvas. This one has a side panel to take into you got to think about also pattern direction, okay? Because this was actually a world map, that was another reason that I considered putting canvas on the bottom. It's because I didn't want the pattern to end up upside down when it went around to the other side of the bag. Okay, today I am not working, we're not going to be creating this type of duffel bag with panel, canvas panel, and then another panel. We're going to be doing one piece duffel bag, okay? But this is in fact 3 panels. If you want, I'll put the measurements down below. You could do 3 panels, but today's, to make the video quicker, it's going to be 1 panel, non-directional fabric. Okay, let's do it. To start, I'm getting the lining fabric. I'm going to just put this in 3s so that I see where I want to put my lining pocket. It's the only way for me to figure out how much of the panel. Yeah, I could measure, but you don't need to whip out your measuring tape for everything. Now I know where my sides are for the bag. I want to know that because I don't want to put my pockets so far close down into the bottom of my bag. For the purpose of the video, I'm only putting pockets on one panel, one side of the bag. If you want to also put extra pockets over here, go ahead and do that, okay? But I know that I want to put this right here. Let's prepare this pocket. I am putting right side to right side, and we are going to sew around 1, 2, 3, all 4 sides, leaving a portion of the bag open, a portion of the pocket open. Okay, I'm just going to leave 5 fingers open, okay, and sew all the way around. Okay. Clip corners to reduce the bulk. All right. Turn right side out. to make sure you poke out the corners as well when you flip it. If you need to get a chopstick, go ahead, get a chopstick, or the end of a pencil, something. Now I like to iron because I love crisp edges. So what I'm going to do in order to prepare this closing as well as my top, I'm gonna hit it with the iron. I want a crisp edge for when I top stitch the top of my pocket. Alright. This is going to be the top of my pocket because my opening is down here and I just like to sew across the bottom of my opening. So because this is the top portion of the pocket, I'm going to put a top stitch. You can either do 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, whichever one you would like. I just like a finished look. All right. Now here's that side panel. I know that I don't know if you can see my folded line. That's my folded line. All right. Now, let's fold this so we can find the middle of our bag. I mean, the middle of our pocket. And I do this because of 2 reasons. One, we want to ensure that we are putting the pocket right in the middle. But also, it's going to help create dividers for the pocket when I want to place the pocket. So I know this is the middle of my bag. I place my pocket middle right in the middle of the bag and I open it. We have to leave about 1/4 of an inch, which is going to be your zipper. Your zipper is going to attach to this portion. When you are placing it, keep that in mind. So we have about a 2-inch space here from the bottom of your panel to where your pocket is going to rest. You know what, I'm gonna just put that down a tiny bit. Sometimes you can use the patterns to help you figure it out. I have dotted lines. I'm not gonna stare at it too much, they'll hurt my eyes. but I do know that here we wanna leave about 1/4 of an inch because your zipper needs to attach to the pocket. So this is a good point for me. So I wanna put a pin, this is my middle. I wanna put a pin here close to the middle because I'm going to show you something. So that in the middle of both sides, ouch, the middle of both sides, okay, close to that middle. Now, what I want to do at this point, I'm going to sew a line down the middle. When I sew a line down the middle, it's going to give me a partition in this pocket. Think about the fact of the things that you want to put in your pocket. I know I like to put cell phones in my pocket. I might want to put a small wallet in my pocket as an example, something like this, right? So I know I at least want the pocket to be wide enough to put like a debit card holder or something into it. How we do that to create the partitions, here's my middle line. I'm going to fold this over to that middle line so I get an even mark here to create a pocket. You see that? So now I'll have one pocket, my first pocket, my second pocket. Okay, I know a wallet or something is going to fit there. I can do the same thing on this side. So I should have 4 portions, 4 pockets to my pocket instead of having one big pocket where it just hangs over because it's just too big. Okay, let me see something. Yep, so this is big enough. This is big enough for a phone as well. Okay, these pocket slots. That's what we want. Go ahead and pin, and we're gonna sew down. I can take this off now. We're gonna sew down our little pockets here on the folded lines. I should say to create the pocket. It doesn't matter if you decide to sew all around your pocket first or if you sew the partitions. I'm going to sew the folded partition portions first. Okay. So I'm sewing inside. Make sure you backstitch. Go ahead, cut off those little straggly strings. All right, I'll remove this. My pins. And again, a phone fits there. Obviously, we didn't sew the bottom yet. We're gonna get to that shortly. Okay. Okay. Before I sew around the edges, let's grab the portion for the keychain. I'm putting a keychain inside so that with the idea that we're going to hang our tab on the side just so that you don't have to put a keychain if you don't want to. I just think that people's keys fall into the abyss of their bags. So this is just a little added bonus, you know, in order to hold on to keys. Create that tab by folding in to the middle line, fold the other one over, and fold again. Nothing fancy about it. We're gonna do a few tabs like this. It's the simplest way to add a keychain hook. Yeah, this is a 1 inch clasp. Now, pick a side, you know, the left side or the right side, and you can just set it up for where you would like it to end up for your keychain. Now, you could either put it on the inside, put it inside this way so that your keychain hangs like that, right on the outside, make it easily accessible, and it's only going to be sewn down right at the edge, so this will kind of dangle. That's an option. Or if you don't want the keychain to be seen at all, your decision. Lift this up and put the keychain right in between, and that way no one will know where you have keys. It's up to you. Okay. I'm going to put this on the outside, but I'm going to tuck in the edges right there. All right. Okay. I don't have a preference. Sometimes I do it both ways. So I'm just going to pin this here for now. Okay. Pin this here. And now we are okay. And now we are ready to sew around the 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is 100% cotton, but this is quilting cotton in here. But another idea for you, if you're making a sports duffel, is that you can use utility fabric inside. That will make it a little strong as well. A utility fabric is also good if it's going to get a lot of wear and tear, because it has a strong, thick bottom. I'm going for the fashion look, but also the fact of knowing that this is washable. using the utility fabric. The utility fabric is not washable, but it's thicker and it's durable. So you just have to make a decision as to what you would like, what you would like to do. All right, so this is how our pockets turned out. I'll show you this. All right, it looks like this. Imagine this being the bag. Of course, I have it inside out right now for you, right? So imagine this panel. This is how your panel would look right here, okay? And again, you can add pockets to the other side as well. I am not for the purpose of this video. All right, let's move on. Let's create the binding, which is ultimately going to go around our ends. We're going to create this right now. The binding that goes around when you connect the lining fabric to the circle ends. That's what we're going to do right now. Okay, let's fold this over. We're going to prep for the binding. Okay. You can bring this in and fold this as well. Bring the ends right into the middle. Where you can, of course, buy pre-made binding, but I wanted this to match the bag. So we're just, if you need to iron this, go ahead and iron it. I'm just using my nails. I'm forcing it closed. I like to just put a little pressure on it. And it works well for me. But if you need to iron it, do so. These nails come in handy for something. Put this to the side. Grab your tabs. These are the tabs that are going to be attached to your lobster clasp right here. So grab those. Let's prepare those. Same way we did for the keychain. Sometimes I like to add some interfacing to them. Sometimes I don't. If you want to add interface, go ahead. It will make it a little thicker. Do you have to? No. It's up to you. It's a personal choice. Okay. All right, let's see. All right. Let's sew down the sides of both of them. We want to sew 1/8 of an inch close to your edge. Get your lobster clasp. Let's slide it on. Where's my other one? Here it is. Okay. Just to help these stay closed, I'm just gonna put a stay stitch right across. Makes it easier when I'm trying to attach it to the zipper. Grab your outer fabric. Outer fabric, put your inner to the side. All right, I know guys, I chose this pattern, I know, and then I thought about it, I'm like, are you gonna be able to see what I'm doing? All right, hopefully you can. To ensure that you get the middle again, I'm going to just fold this in 3, just so that we know where our middle panel lies. Okay. All right. put a pin here. And I'll put a pin here because I want you to see where the panels are. Should have put a colored one there. We have to prepare the outside pockets. However, in order to do that, for me to decide where I want to put my pockets, let's lay down the webbing. This is 1-inch webbing, okay? I'm placing it down in the middle, just because I have a rough idea. Oh, you know what? Let me turn this way. Yep, something fell. I have a rough idea of how far away I am. All right, from my edges. Okay. We want to ensure that we have enough webbing to go around and come back underneath to the middle to overlap inside that middle panel. This is your middle panel on the bottom. You don't want to overlap on the top of the bag. We don't need to see the extra stitching that's done. Okay, so this is how we prepare for that. Now I like to make sure that I have about 3 inches. Let's see, 3 inches of handle. It's extra handle. So from the top, all right, see this right here? I just put it enough so that I get about 3 inches. So this is my 3, and I just want the webbing to touch the top there. All right, that's how I know I feel like I have enough. Let me pin this on. Hold this in place for a moment. Let's go to the next spot. Randomly choosing where to pin because we need to put our pockets on. So we'll be, we might be changing that. All right, so I have 3 inches there. Okay. We want to put it 5 inches over from the edge to match. Oh, see, I did right. I did right. I just eyeballed it. Pin this here. And then let's check. I can already see this is a little bit more than 3 inches. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit just because I know I'm used to doing this. I eyeballed it, but let me see. All right, we went 3 inches. So I'm going to bring this webbing down a little bit, and that looks good to me. 3 inches. And then I'll overlap this here. Okay, great. Now I'm going to pin this in place. Wait, let me make sure I have about 5 inches in. Nope. We want to get 5 inches, move it over so that, there we go. Thank you. All right. 5 inches. Oh, that's good. This is probably the hardest part of this task, of this bag. The webbing here, knowing where to place it. Let's see here, make sure. Yep, that looks good. That's 5 inches. Excellent. So we can cut off that extra. Where did I overlapped it right here. It overlaps right here. So I can cut off that extra right about right here. We don't need to waste too much webbing. Okay. So that will give us 3 inches of overlap. That's good. To make it strong. All right, pin. Because now we know where we want to place our pockets. Okay. All right, that's the hardest part of this project. Now that we have that, let's scoot it to the side for a moment. We want to prepare, these are my 2 pockets. We want to prepare our pockets that we are going to place right inside of here. Okay? So I have my pretty side to my pretty side. No, I have my raw side to my wrong side. So let's put pretty side to pretty side for both of them. And we'll prepare these the same way we did the inner lining pocket. So you can do both of them at the same time. Pretty side to pretty side. And these are 8 by 8, so there's no wrong, there's no wrong side that you sew it on or that you leave open. So sew around the 4 sides leave a portion open, and we're going to flip it right side out. Okay. We're going to turn them right side out, and of course we're going to iron them. This is my bottom here. I'm going to put a top stitch across the opposite end. Wherever your opening is, put a top stitch across the opposite end. It's basically putting a finished look on your pocket. So this portion here where I put the pins, this is going to be the bottom of your bag, which means we want to ensure that the pocket goes just above that fold. Okay? All right. Slip the edges of the pocket underneath the webbing. This is what's going to hold down the pockets. It's the webbing, because we're going to be sewing down both sides of the webbing all around the bag. Okay, so we're going to hold that down. With the webbing. Hold the pocket down. Okay. All right. We will be going across this bottom pocket as well, which is going to be the closure for the pocket. Okay, but right now we want to focus on the webbing to hold down the sides. Okay, I'll go ahead and place the pocket. Let's see, where's my top? Okay, right there. This is my panel right here and right here. Okay, stick the pocket underneath. We are ready to sew on the webbing. We're going all the way around with the webbing, all the way around. At the top of your pocket, you're going to continue about 1 inch. Let's see, 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch above your pocket. You don't want to go further because you need your handles to hang so that you can open your zippers. So you don't want to go all the way to the top. Okay, we'll stop about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, I'll mark the same thing on my opposite end. I know that I want to stop sewing there. All right. When you get to the top, go across and you'll go down the opposite end of the webbing all the way. Stop, go across, and come right back around the other side. We'll do the same thing on both sides of the webbing. I'm sewing close to the edge, which is about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the webbing. Just like this, all the way down and around. All right, so I just finished going around one side don't know if you can see it, but I went around once. See, I can't lift it up anymore because, of course, I sewed down the webbing on one side. I'm about to put an X here. However, let me just tell you, you have an option in order to prevent fraying. I use a, this is for a fray check, and this makes it so that so that your item does not fray. Okay, I've been using this for years. So you have an option to use something like this, the fray check, right? Or, and it kind of like dries like a glue, like a dry glue. Yeah, I only have a tiny bit of this left. But or if you want, fold the end underneath, and you can just sew over it. You know, it'll be a little thicker when you sew it over. That's no problem. Go ahead. But so either use fray check or just roll it under so that you don't get the raw edge like this. So just fold it like that. Okay? And put it down. Okay? That's an option for you. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Attach this webbing onto the other side. At this point, we have secured the webbing onto both sides of the bag. All right, so the hard part is really over with. But let me show you something. I put an X right over the overlapping. That's just to help secure, to give it a little bit of extra strength right there. We're also going to give it a little bit of secure it, you know, with some additional love by sewing across the pockets. I used to sew the bottom pocket on first when I first started doing this before putting the webbing, but I realized that a little extra securement on the, you know, securing the webbing, it never hurt anybody, and it shows that you're putting that extra detail on. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to stitch right across. If you don't want to stitch across your webbing, you don't have to. Just start right at the corner right there and secure your pocket. Okay, I'm stitching across mine because I like putting extra stitches. Okay, no one's going to see it anyway, but I like it. Beautiful. Do the same thing to the other pocket. All right, pockets are on and secure. Let's see, we want to test that pocket, right? There we go. Beautiful. All right, and it's going to be held down by the webbing. Okay, we are at the point where we want to put our zipper on. So we are putting the lining fabric. Now this works even if you're using utility fabric, okay? We're going to put lining fabric pretty side up. Your zipper pretty side up, well, right side up. Then get your fabric, the outer portion of the duffel bag. Stick your handle down inside that pocket. It's going to help you out a little bit. Okay, right side down. Okay, we want to pin these together, and we are going to put this together as if we are putting together a toiletry bag. Pin in place. I will pin a few places here. I will not pin the whole thing, but I will pin a few places. Okay. If you need to, go ahead and put pins all the way across. Okay. We are sewing directly across, and you can use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Attaching that zipper. Be sure to backstitch. Remove your pins. I'm checking just to make sure everything is still where it needed to be. Everything is still lined up. I should tell you guys, if you need to go ahead and use your zipper foot, go ahead. I'm using my presser foot. I forgot to mention that. Yes, I have a zipper foot. No, I don't use it. We want to top stitch the top of this together. So this is going to take a little bit of maneuvering on your part, okay? Top stitching the lining to your outer fabric, okay? All right. Make sure that you pull this out of your way, pull the rest of the bag out of the way. You only want underneath the needle and on your machine right here, you only want the lining fabric that's directly underneath, not the rest of the material. And we are sewing at 1/8 of an inch to top stitch. Now we want to do the other side of the zipper. So we're going to treat this as if nothing is attached here. We're going to grab the pretty side of that fabric again. Pretty side. Look, it's the lining. We're just closing the lining, putting this side to that side. Pretty side to the pretty side. So pretty side is face side up. Zipper, the same way we did the other side of the zipper. We want to copy it. Okay, so zipper, pretty side up, line up those raw edges, bring over the pretty side of your duffel bag, the right side, tuck in that strap, line it up, have it lined up right here, and pin. Quarter of an inch seam allowance all the way down. Be sure to back stitch. We want to do the same thing to the other side. We want to do a top stitch. So put your arm inside, pull the bag through. Before we do the top stitch, I'll just show you what we have at this point. This is what we have right now. Looks like this. You see the bag coming together, right? So we need to put that top stitch on the other side. So we have the top stitch on one side. We'll go ahead and do the same thing to the other. I just separated my zipper, and I'm going to use a 1/8 seam allowance all the way down. You can open up your zipper panel here. Okay. There we go. Be sure you're paying attention underneath the bag. You want to make sure that you are only getting the 1/8 portion, the top portion. You don't want to sew into the bag. Getting close to the end. I'll show you how I'm going to maneuver this in just a moment. Okay, I'm at the end of the bag right now. I want to close the zipper a little bit, close the zipper, and then only have the tip of the bag on the throat. This portion of the bag is in the throat of the machine, and all I have right here is this tip of the bag left to sew. Go ahead and put a base stitch to hold your stitches to hold your zipper teeth together in order to prepare the next step. Make sure you baste it together outside of the seam. Okay. We want to do it outside of the seam allowance. I'll cut that. Not that I need to, but okay. We want to grab the tabs. I'm pulling this down because that base stitch is holding the zipper together now. Go ahead and get the tab that has the lobster claw. Put it right on top of the zipper. You see this? We made the tab to be the width of the zipper tape. Okay, so it fits right in that spot. Pin it on. And sew right across. This is where the strap is going to attach to. I'm sewing back and forth a few times. Excellent. We want to do the same thing to the other side. This looks a little messy right now, but we're not going to see these stitches. Let's do the same thing to the other side. Okay, we are heading to the final portions of adding on these circles. These are our ends. Okay, so we need the binding for this. Let's turn the bag, open the bag a little bit, halfway. Okay, so that you have it halfway open. There we go. Let's turn the bag inside out. Okay, I'm a firm believer in putting extra stitches in bags. So when you do binding, you can do this one of two ways. Oh, we can take this out now. You can do this one of two ways. Let me just make sure that we have to make sure it's not curved, make sure everything is not jumbled together, because we have several layers. This is a nice thick quality duffel bag here. Let me show you what we're doing right now. This is the part of the bag we're going to be doing right now. This right here. Here's the inner portion, and we are going to be creating this circle, adding on the binding to go around. This is the part. We want to make it, we're using the same, you can use whatever bias tape you want, even if you create your own like I just did, but I'm using for the outside of the bag. You can use whatever kind you want to, but this is what we're doing right now. We're going to attach the circles. All right. Some people choose to go ahead and do stitching around the bag. Some people choose to do stitching to connect the interface with their outer and inner. I chose to make it a little easier. I chose to use double-sided fusible fleece here. Okay, so my fusible fleece is adhering to both the lining and the outer. It just makes it a little less shifting for me. Okay, I want to find the middle of the bag because we want to be able to pin this down. Okay, I got the middle there. My end piece, I want to find the middle. Okay, this is my right side. It matches, well, this is the liner, but this is the liner as well. Okay, and this is the middle. This is going to help us to be able to secure it to the duffel, because the duffel is a large size. Okay. All right, here we go. I found the middle of my duffel, and we're going to start to pin it to connect it. So we want to connect these layers. We're going to connect it on one side, which is the bottom. And we want to do the same thing to the top. This is my middle up here. I'm going to connect this to the top. This is going to help you be able to get an even amount spread across the bag. You see, it's going to help you get your circle evenly into place. Let's pin the middle of the bag here. So now I know, oh, I just bent that. Now I know that the sides of my circles are going to distribute evenly. You see this here? And I'm going to get the same amount of fabric on both sides to help my circle, to help the bag connect with my circle. Okay? We want to pin all the way around this bag, all the way around the circle. That's why I chose to put fusible fleece on my circles, because I knew I was going to be dealing with multiple layers. Okay, here we go. Let the pinning begin. And we're pinning with the lining piece coming inside, coming towards the inside of the bag, not towards the outside. It's because on the right side of your bag, you want, you see how you don't see the raw edges here? You want to have this clean seam on the outside, and it's forced through here. It's inside. The raw edges are inside of this binding. Okay? To fold inwards. Okay. This is a 10.5-inch circle. You see this here? You might want to pull a little bit just so that you line up. So you line up your fabrics together. You don't have to worry about it being perfect because the binding is going to cover it. If you get lazy and don't want to do binding, you could do a zigzag stitch all the way around. But I don't like to see raw edges myself. If you like to see raw edges, if you're fine with that, then you don't have to do the binding. Okay, then this could be your last step. But I don't like to see raw edges. Well, if I'm selling something, I don't want to see any raw edges. I like people to have clean seams everywhere. Okay, you see how that lined up perfectly? That means I found the middle of my bag correctly, because this just came together easily. Now you have a choice to finish this off. You could choose to just go ahead and do a zigzag stitch all the way around. You will see your raw edges here. You will see your seams. You could choose to use a pinking shear scissor if you want to finish it off that way. Okay, so that's an option. You can sew this all on with a zigzag and then use pinking shears for your edges. Or go ahead and finish it up the way I'm going to do. Okay, I'm putting binding. This binding matches the outside of my bag. I used that fabric to make my own, okay? And I'm going to finish it off with this. Sometimes I use the same as the liner fabric, sometimes I don't. This time I had extra of this, I'm just going to use this, okay? We want to start it off, so pick a portion. I like to choose a bottom portion. Pick a bottom portion. What you want to do is take a portion of that fold. We want to start. I'm going to remove this pin just so I can put this in. Okay? We want to start sewing, connecting this layer onto the other two. Okay? What's going to happen, we're going to sew on the fold here, so that when we have gone all around connecting this binding on, we're then going to wrap this and fold over just like this, and those raw edges are going to be inside of the binding all the way around. Okay, so let's do it. I'm only pinning that first one to start to show you. Okay, we're going to do this to both sides. Okay, I'm going to get this started. Remove the pin. Okay. I'm sewing on the fold, so that first fold line, that's where I'm sewing. I'm using 3.0. If you would like to increase it, your stitch length, go ahead. Okay. We're going to keep this raw edge lined up with the raw edges of the bag and go all the way around. Okay. Maneuvering this as I go along. These raw edges are just staying together. Boy, I almost got stuck like crazy here. This is what we have right here. We have something that looks like this. Okay? And what we want to do now is we want to prepare this to cover this portion. We want to cover it. So we want to fold it over. You have that fold that we made there. Okay? We want to fold. I'm going to fold it over as I sew. However, we want to fold and just bring it right over. The goal here is to bring it over and cover the stitching you initially made right there. The stitching from the bag, you want to cover it. That's the goal. So we're hiding the raw edges in this binding, but we're also going to be covering that stitch line that goes all around the bag, okay, when we just sewed on the first part of the circle. This is what we want to ultimately end up with. Clean edges. Okay. Fold in. Okay. And we don't see our seams in there, which is perfect. Okay. I'm only going to do one side on camera, and then you can go ahead and do the same thing to both sides. but I'm only going to do one side on camera. Okay. All right. So that's all I'm going to pin for right now. All right. You want to go back around and sew close to the edge all the way around. Okay. To show how it looks on the side. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. Looks gorgeous. See? Looks gorgeous. Nice. Okay, let's do the other side. After some finger casualties with the needles.
Hazardous work environment.
Hazardous work environment, that's right. Done with both sides. We're done with both sides. And now, now all we need to do is turn the bag right side out and put on our strap. That's all. That's all we have to do. This feels really good and thick. Really good. Really good. This is a quality duffel bag. Now it's time to do the strap, the last part of the project. Tri-glide. I'm gonna flip it this way. Yeah. In, up, over. So it looks like this. And I am going to fold this down a little bit. I put freight check on here, but still, we're going to fold it over in order to sew. Fold it over, raw. Okay, I sew mine close because no sense in wasting webbing, right? So, and we want to sew this down. I'm giving it some extra love. Boom. Okay, this is going to be a strong strap. All right, there you go. Because we need to cut off stragglies. All right. D-ring. Goes on one side there. I'll try to put that there so you can see it. D-ring that side. Make sure it's not curled. Make sure it's not, okay, it's not curled. And then we want to go with the other side of the D-ring, up and over. See that? This is what makes your strap adjustable. Just like that. I'm going to make it shorter right there. Just like that. That's it. That's what makes your strap adjustable. Up and over. Okay. There we go. We're going to add on this D-ring to this side. I'll just tuck this under and sew. Make sure I got it. Okay, good. It's not curled. All right. Raw. I should sew from this side so I can actually see it. Some extra love. Extra love never hurt anybody. Y'all should know, yeah, this is like the third time I've attempted to put together a duffel bag video for y'all. Nothing that, first time I didn't know it wasn't recording. And I went through a whole, yeah, anyway, third time's the charm, right? So, there we go, duffel bag. with lobster clasp. You can, yeah, adjustable strap. Gorgeous. I'm satisfied. All right, we got our pockets. If you wanted to, you can add pockets onto your circle. I wasn't going to make this video any longer than it needed to be. Okay, now side pockets, and you have your inner pocket, and it is nice and thick. I wish y'all can feel this. Well, you know, because we put interface, right? So, all right, that's all I got for you. So, forget the cheesy duffel bags. Make a sports bag, make a cute bag. I told y'all my daughter went through high school with an Avengers duffel bag and nobody had one like her. So you can do this. You can do this too, step by step. All right, go ahead, put your questions down below. I'm going to put the measurements down below. And we will see. I'm curious to know. Let me see your final product when you've done it. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys at the next video. Thank you for stopping by. Subscribe, like, and share the video. Okay? I gotta put this thread back through. Gotta put my thread back through. There we go. Oh, that was quick. Surprising. All right. Yes, I always impress myself. Got this. I'm not going to treat it any different. It's right there, the zipper. I'm going to sew right over it. Oh, my pin just... My pin just broke in there. There we go. That's another pin. Okay.